Hi, my name is Lainey. I'm also a long-distance runner, so I was wondering, how did you struggle with your muscle problems, or did you have any problems, and how did you solve it?
My muscle problems?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, like muscle or injuries.
Yes.
Did you have some, or did you need breaks?
So when I cycle, I don't have muscle problems. Running is a different thing. Running is much more impact on the body. And I had, when I turned around, so I cycled across the US, and then the next day I went back. And when I started with a 50K, one ultra marathon from day one on, and I haven't run for more than a month before. So those first days are very, very painful when your body adapts. So, well, I pushed through, and after 4 days, my body adapted, and the pain became less. And you can actually recover when you do an ultramarathon every day. And this continued like this. Actually, the training effect of running an ultramarathon can be higher than the effect of becoming tired. There is this moment where it turns at some point after like 60, 70 days, especially because of the very bad food situation in the US, when you really have just fast food. After that, I had only one situation when I was in Missouri. That was after around 3,000 K in 60 days of running, that I had like 3 days of like a swollen ankle. So I did 2 recovery days where I ran around 47, 48 K a day, and that was enough to recover, and the pain didn't return.
Brilliant. Thank you for your question. We've got another one just over there. Thank you.
To organize such a journey, do you have? Yeah, I'm here. Do you have like a big team, or do you organize mostly everything by yourself?
So when I'm like in those countries, I'm around 90% of the time alone. Now, of course, there's also a film coming out in December, and the book. So there is sometimes a film team joining for like a few days, and we know before where the things are happening. When you run through the prairie, well, you don't need a film team. But when the Rocky Mountains are coming, or the Mojave Desert, then it may be interesting, and then there is somebody there for a few days. But in general, I'm around 90% of the time alone. Now my dad actually joined for the final 10 days into New York. So yeah, it's this combination. What I also think it's actually very important, because when you also have a business out of it, but you do adventures unsupported. If I would have a film team all the time with me, that's not an adventure anymore, let's be honest. But on the other hand, you want to have nice pictures and everything, and I believe if you are like 80 to 90% of the time alone, that's kind of a good ratio.
Thank you for your question. I feel like we've had some great ones coming over here. Why don't we look over to this side? I think we've got time for a couple more if anyone would like to ask Jonas before he goes. If you just pop your hand up, then we'll be able to bring a microphone to you. We've got some competition over here. We've got a question here. Does anyone over on the right side want to ask anything? There we are.
Hey Jonas, it's Stefan speaking. So what do you eat during those long days to get your calories and proteins?
Well, in theory, pasta and protein bars and those things. But this is in a lot of countries just not possible if you don't have a car behind you. Especially in the Midwest, I have a very simple rule for food, and that is eat as much as you can and whatever you find.
Thank you for your answer. Right, last question. Someone over on this side. Have we got a hand up somewhere? Who would like to ask the final one before we go? Okay, last chance, last chance. Nope, we're going to come back over to this side. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jonas. Thank you very much for your stories. Very inspiring. I also dedicate my life to sports, and I also realized that 70% is mentally, and the rest is depending on your body and physical strength. So my question is, do you have some methods to train, especially mentally? You mentioned that you wake up and say to yourself, okay, come on, let's go, I will do it. But do you have some methods, like breathing methods or stuff like this?
So you have, in terms of the mental strategy, you have to like make a difference between the tough days and the easy ones. In general, you visualize things, it's always positive, you break down into small ones and concentrate on the way to the next gas station. But when I know now something super, super tough is coming, I take the example when I was cycling in winter across Siberia. Okay, and you wake up in your tent, you get into your stiff frozen boots, and you start cycling. It's like minus 20 degrees. It's so miserable you can't imagine. And then after 100K, you get to the restaurant. You get in there. It's snowing outside and everything. So you really, really want to continue in this restaurant. But it doesn't change if you just sit there and continue. So when my food comes, I put my alarm, and when it rings, I leave. So I know when tough moments come, discipline. And if you set yourself rules, I don't break them. Otherwise, there's no point in it. And so that's what you can do on the road. And there's also one strategy for training before that I sometimes do, not too often because it's monotonous. Put the bike on a white wall, in front of a white wall on a home trainer. No music, no Netflix, no distraction. And in 10 hours, the alarm rings. So if you do this a few times a year, you really train your mind.